when people hear words like sovereign, they hear words like redemption, they hear words such as the different statutes, the Uniform Commercial Code, secured party, creditor, which it used to be, now it's just secured party, debtor. A lot of people are confused about that, and then whenever the pressure comes on by the system, then they really get confused, because usually that's when the spirit of fear begins to attack their mind, and then they get flustered, and everything that they've heard before, it just goes out the window. And so what I always advise people is they have to count the cost. When you get into something like this and you want to make a stand for what is right, for righteousness, you need to take a look, listen, and before you jump in with 2 feet and start swimming in the water, you need to find out exactly who you are, number one. And when you have that comfort level, that comfort zone of who you are, then count the cost, be prepared for anything, and realize that in the scope of eternity, we're all here just in training. This is a boot camp. Here on this earth realm, we're just here as in training. Who are we? When you hear the term, who am I? Or who are you? We have in our language, we have pronouns, we have nouns, we have verbs, we have adjectives, and on and on and on. And you have to understand what type of language you're using with the system, because they understand what type of language they're using with you. And they train to understand, especially the administrative arbitrators, the ones that you see in what we call a court. That's really the chambers. It's really the king's bench. It's a bank. And that's why they have a cashier outside that collects money. And that's why all crimes are commercial crimes, because all crimes have a monetary value attached to it. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a rock star that is accused of something, and the bail is set for $3 million so he can be free on his own recognizance, then he pays it if he has the money, and he's walking free. So all crimes are commercial crimes. Keep in mind also that in commerce, we use the word democracy, and you hear different teachers or people who are sharing, and this is a discussion forum. You hear that we are not the straw man, and people need to understand what the straw man is. And we've been taught that the straw man is the all uppercase spelling of our name. I contend that that is not so. I contend that the straw man is also the upper lowercase. When you take a look at any government form, any and every government form that you see, there will be a box and it says last name. Those words, last name, are for a fiction. They are not for a living soul. So it doesn't matter how you spell your last name, if that's what you believe you have. I do not have a last name. I have one given appellation, and that is David-Sidney. It's not two, it's one. And how I've made it one is with a hyphen to bring it together. Those two have now become one. Because I'm not two, I'm one. Then also I have a family name. Some say clan name. Some say the house of. But that's not my name. And I am not my name. And people ask me, what do you mean, David? You're not your name. Well, I mean that I'm not a noun. A name is a noun is a thing. I'm not a thing. And I don't believe anyone in this room tonight is a thing. And a thing can't walk, can't talk, can't sleep, can't eat, can't write, can't sign. So, who am I? I believe that whenever I meet someone, I don't walk away and say I met a body. I walk away in the English language, I say, I met a person. Sometimes I'll add an adjective to the word person, which, as we know in the legal context, means corporation or corporate fiction. And I walk away and I say, I met a person. What we mean by that is we really mean that we met a living soul. We really mean that we met a personality. We really mean that we met a character. Someone has breath, someone that has volition, someone that is a sentient being, that has thought, that can speak, that can walk and talk, that has life. I go a step further and I believe that we are all spirit beings. And as a spirit being, I have a soul, which is my personality. It exhibits and manifests my spirit wants, my spirit desires, through my mind, my will, and my emotions. You might want to add character, or you might want to add personality, whatever you want to say there. And how can you see who I am? Well, we have a voice. And out of my spirit comes words. And I like to say that words are containers of spiritual force, either for good or for bad. Someone can run in this room, and if the environment in this room is happy and joyful, they can come in here and start waving a gun and cursing and everything else and threatening everybody, and all of a sudden the environment of this room changes. It's no longer happiness, it's no longer joy, it becomes fearful and doubtful about what's going to happen next. So, whenever I meet someone, I walk away and I say, I met a living soul. But that sounds funny to us, doesn't it? Whenever we say that, and by the way, this is going to be, I'm discussing here at the very beginning, and then later on, if you have any questions or anything, please write them down, and we're going to open back and forth a little bit. That'd be fine.